to the Scamslam channel. I'm here to bring you content from both shady and some not so shady individuals on TikTok. Ever scrolled through your For You page and come across a sketchy scam or a questionable character? Well, you're not alone, and that's where I come in. On this channel, I'll be diving deep into the world of TikTok to expose scams, scammers, and problematic content to steer clear of. From beggars, scammers, fakers, liars, abusers, and awareness creators that you watch, I'll be here to share it all. I'll be doing it all through showing live streams and adding in comments where appropriate. Be sure to look out for those red flags. So if you want to stay informed on what's really going on in the world of TikTok, then hit that subscribe button and join me on this wild ride. Let's expose the truth together, and reminder, don't send money to anyone on TikTok.
Y'all, you're not gonna believe this shit. There are so many fake accounts that are joining my live. Names that I've heard before, but it would be deceased.
Yeah, hi. I'm hoping you can help me because it seems
Is that
like
who I
nobody
think
else
that is?
wants to.
Great! Oh my
About a
god!
year
Hello,
ago,
and don't call me Heather,
that I was
please.
abducted and trafficked
I'm not
as
Heather.
a child. I've already done a DNA test to
I
find
know,
out
I
if I
see
was one child named Tanya Michelle Williams in Center, Texas. It turned out I'm not. But I came across another child that went missing on
It's okay,
November
it's not your
28th,
fault.
1981
I just found out
from West
October
Germany.
28th of
Her name was
2024.
Catrice Lee. I have the same exact birthmark
The
as she
family I was
does.
with. You met
I
Linda,
have a
right?
very distinct mole on the left side of my face, on my cheek. And if you look at her pictures very closely, it looks like she has one in the same spot. I've tried
I packed up my car and left in the middle of the night.
I don't know who else to call. I've called
homeless
Interpol.
for
They said it has to
9
go
months
through
in my car, and then
police.
I ended up here.
I've tried FBI. They laugh. I don't know what else to do.
Linda's sister Carol's the one that abducted me. The ones in charge of her case
are the military police in the UK.
That family is they're monsters.
Operation Butte is who's in charge of her case. Her father's name was Richard Lee. He was a sergeant major at the time. They were stationed in West Germany, and she was taken from Menifee on her second birthday.
Okay. You remember
I
Linda?
have the same birthmark, like I said,
the one
and
when
everything.
She
and
would come and bring me food
like
at work?
progression of Catrice
Yeah.
Lee. And the sketch of the suspect, the actual suspect,
the family that
looks
the one
so
I called
much
Mom?
like someone I actually know very well.
Mm-hmm.
And who's that person that you know?
Her name is Carol Myers. I grew up knowing her as my aunt. But it was confirmed I was abducted and trafficked.
Hi, I'm not Heather, but I was
have
put
very
in Heather's
vague
place, but you knew
memories.
me as Heather, and
Is there any phone
that
number
family,
on these? They usually give a phone number.
it's part of the Illuminati.
On the flyers.
The woman
It's
that I called great grandma was the leader. They called her Grandmother Hayden.
The UK.
And I'm willing to bet that Linda would be
told me
probably
I need
the
to have
leader
the
now.
US
She's
help
fucking
me because
sadistic
I'm here,
as fuck.
And then I'm being, I don't know what to do.
Alright, give me a second. 1 second.
I just want to know who I am.
Oh God, yes. I used to lay in bed as a child like, how am I related to these people? She poisoned me for a very long time. The doctors were in on it, all of it. They had me put on... At one time, I was taking 30 different prescriptions for things I didn't need. Taking 100 pills a day. Prescribed. Yeah. I remember the day I was taken. But it wasn't a man, it was...
Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, you have to go through the FBI to handle that.
Yeah, I wish I could. I've tried that. I've tried that. I've tried that multiple times. I have a recording from that I took from the FBI because
on my phone, but
I called and when I said about Catrice Lee originally,
she keeps saying I have to contact FBI.
First said, "Oh, now you think you're Catrice."
This is what I've been dealing with. But let me show you something. See, Gray knows me. We used to work together. A very sweet girl. So, where are screenshots? Ugh. Lady. I'm finding out things that I've had wrong with me for a long time that I was lied to about. And they said I didn't. So, thank you. You were the best. Don't, But let me show you. This is Catrice Lee. Now you see how she has a little stubby thumb right there? And kind of like, I kind of a stubby thumb, don't mind the nails, And then, damn, if it would fucking focus, there's a mole right about there. But there, like I do. I have the same birthmark as she does. This is her. And then, let's see if I can find those pictures again. I'll lose my head if it wasn't fucking attached, I'm telling you. So, that's Catrice. She went missing on her second birthday from West Germany on November 28th, 1981. This is the youngest picture I have of me. And on the back, that's Linda's handwriting, if it would focus. That is the zip code for Athens, Pennsylvania, and that is most likely the identifying number for, when people order things out of catalogs. Yeah. Let's see, here we have Catrice Lee, right? And then we have my daughters. Then, where is it? Hang on, I have a lot of pictures on here. So, and this is the age progression of Catrice Lee. Everybody Gray knows me personally. This is the age progression of Catrice Lee. See, I took this picture, went in with ChatGPT. I took this age progression. And I took this photo of me. And I layered it. It layered for me on top of each other. And well, it's not perfect because, heads are tilted different, but that's what the pictures layered on top of each other. And then That's the suspect. And this was done a year after the disappearance of Catrice Lee. This is Carol, Linda's sister. Her and her husband were overseas, stationed over there around the same time. Then, there's cases over there now open, but they can't help me because I'm over here. So at some point, I'm going to be going over there to prove who I am, even if I have to swim across the ocean to do so. But this is Catrice's father. This is of her mom and her sister. This is Catrice Lee's mom and sister, and the other one was her father. No, I'm trying to go about it the right way. I've contacted news stations over there, police over there, Center for Missing and Exploited Children over there, slavery and exploited people's agency over there, missing persons unit over there. They all want to help me, but they can't because I'm over here. I will play something. Might take me a minute to get to it, so bear with me. Because it's something someone sent to me that you might figure out where I get my determination from this. This was earlier this year, actually, when this was done. This article. The mom and the sister. I gotta get to it. Hold on. The car was most likely a 1981 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme with not bench seats, but the ones that connect all the way across. What do you call it? I'll show you in a minute. The oh, bench seats, not bucket seats. But yeah, they were bench seats and they were tan leather. Yeah, they're all living still. They don't know about me yet. At first, it's gonna play an ad. Obviously, it always does. Once it wants to play. But yeah.
Rory McIlroy knows success takes preparation. At FM, so do we. Rory conquers the
I'll play this and then I'll explain how I figured it out.
FM helps you conquer any storm. Rory's success demonstrates the power of resilience.
Well, my original account had been permanently banned, but yeah, this is actually my backup account. My main account is Grace Marie.
Protect and ensure your purpose.
Obviously, I was overjoyed at the fact that my daughter's case is now going to be in the forefront of a lot of MPs' minds, because more importantly, it was the last question in Prime Minister's Question Time. So that's one thing, in my opinion, one good thing about it. And the other thing is that the Prime Minister now has said that he will select the appropriate minister to deal with my situation. I'm a father on a mission, and I want answers to what has happened to my daughter. And you know, and I know, and thankfully the support that your programme have given me over the years. I'm not going away. I want answers. Catrice was a gift, and I want my gift back. She was taken. No proof to otherwise state anything different. And she, in my opinion, was abducted.
How I found out that I was abducted and trafficked? October 28th, 2024. Woman by the name of Heather Enderton comes on my live and says, "Oh my god, you're my long lost sister named Tanya. You were kidnapped." The name Tanya felt very familiar, sounded very familiar, you know. And, so for a whole month I was gaslit and everything else. Then come to find out, I found this missing child, Tanya Michelle Williams, who I look like I looked similar to the age progression. I looked similar to the family. I looked like I could be her older sister's twin. DNA test come back, I'm not her. But in the meantime, while this is going on, there's anonymous posts going on a blog for Tanya Michelle Williams calling me, you name it, it's been said about me. You go on YouTube, look up Heather McCord under the account Scamslam. There will be over 200 of my lives that have been recorded and posted trying to make me look like a scammer and a beggar. You name it, it's been said about me. Posted about me. And I've been being stalked online since February of 2023 after I escaped that hell. After finding out I was a Tanya Michelle Williams, I started doing more investigating, and I came across Catrice Lee, who has the same exact birthmark in the same exact place as I do. The same mole, right here, as I do. The person that took me, I thought was a man because I couldn't. The face was all blurred out. The reason the name, and it finally clicked with me yesterday because Tanya Enderton joined my life. But here it gets where it gets weirder. There is a real Heather. I replaced a child. I thought it was Heather Enderton. Because the age progression of this picture, once I find it, looks like her. But once I find it, I'll show you. By all accounts, it is not a girl. But first, there's a couple pictures that I'm going to show you. So, let's turn this around. We're going to flip the bitch, okay? So, see, this picture says December 80. However, that's not when this picture was taken, it's when it was printed off. Because after doing some investigating, trying to clean it off. After doing some investigating, Sue, who was the biological mother, was on public assistance in 1972 and 1973. But she would have been like 13, 14 years old. So why would a 13 or 14-year-old be on public assistance? Unless they were pregnant. Right? So this could have been taken probably 1973. And if you look, there's a reason it was taken so far back. Oh, if it would focus. I'll show you on my other phone if I have it on my other phone, but I'm sure I do. But there, the arms are off. There's a lot of birth defects with this baby. That's why the picture was taken so far back. So that is not the child I replaced, but that child is most likely deceased. And Sue's father was most likely the father of that child. Now, this is Sue. And supposedly they said that was me. That's a boy. Most likely. Right? This is the child I replaced. What is one thing you could tell me about this picture that would make you think it would be a boy dressed as a girl? Because that is not a girl. Because little girls don't sit like that, with their legs spread apart in a dress. The first memory I have of being with that family, I was running away. You know where the house was. What I remember was I was running down the sidewalk and I got to the end of the street, and then I went up and I kept running and running and running. And I was terrified. I remember I was scared. And I ran all the way up and I crossed the busy street and I got up to the elementary school, but before I could get to the doors, Linda caught up with me in the car. She got me in the car and beat me on the way back to the house. And then when they got me in the house, they continued to beat me. And the next thing I remember, I was in the shower with Linda's brother, John. The one that lived with them, with us. Bubbles' husband. He was at the front near the faucet, and I was back by the wall. I only have a couple of seconds of a memory of that. And after that, the next thing I remember, I couldn't stop urinating. That was the first time, and then another time, Sue left the car running, and I was in the front seat. And when she went into the house, I tried driving the car, and I drove her through the garage door. Another time, while she was driving, the car was in motion, I tried to jump out of the car. I tried multiple times to run away. When I couldn't stop urinating, they put me in diapers till they got me to a doctor where I got a hit in the hip, where I would stop. One of the places I lived with Sue, we had an apartment upstairs. This is probably right after they got me. No, right after I escaped. I think the only reason that they replaced this child with me was because I escaped and people saw me. Otherwise, I was never meant to replace any child. But they couldn't get rid of me because the neighbors saw me. But I had a canopy bed, and I have 3 scars on my upper inner thigh of my right leg. And they told me that it was because I unscrewed the canopy top or whatever, and the screws were sticking out, and I jumped on the bed and landed on the screw 3 times. I've shown 2 different medical professions the scars, and they said there's no way. They said they were from cigarette burns. My bedroom in this apartment, we lived upstairs, and my babysitter was downstairs. And I had the biggest bedroom in the house. And say my canopy bed was here, right? This is the head of the bed and the foot of the bed. Well, if you're looking, if you would be sitting on the canopy bed or laying down, right across and on the left, there were steps going up, like 3 steps. And then there was a landing and a door. I was told never to open that door. I don't listen. I opened the door, and I told the babysitter about it. When I opened the door, there was a tunnel, a very long hall. And on both sides of the walls, there were mural paintings of religious paintings. And I told my babysitter about it, and she checked it out. She took a flashlight, went in. She was gone for 2 hours. She comes back. She said there was no ending. It was a tunnel. I started remembering things the summer of 2023 when I was living in my car. The first memory I had was I was in some sort of basement or cellar of some sort, and it was like brick along the walls. The floor was concrete. There were fireplaces, but in between there was like pillars. There was like the fireplace, and then up front there were pillars, and there were like those wood where they would put the fire, light the thing, the torch. There were torches on the pillars, and there was a big long table with things on it. There were children. I witnessed the unaliving of children in very horrific ways. What happened to me, what I witnessed, is worse than horror movies and nightmares combined, and what I don't remember is far worse than what I do remember. And the reason the name Tanya felt so familiar is because of Tanya Enderton. Because I woke up in the backseat of that car, and it was very bright, and I was very hot, I was sweating. And it was her and John Enderton in the front seat. She said, "What if she remembers?" And he said, "Don't worry, she's so young, she won't remember. Just make sure you take better care of this one than you did the last one." She said it wasn't her fault. She turned around, the baby fell. He said he didn't believe her because the first time. Then they started arguing, and he hit her, and I passed out. Seats were leather tannish. They were tan, but they could have been goldish tannish color. I can't eat anything I eat that would be orange. I can't eat orange anything, or orange suckers, orange hard candy, oranges, orange ice cream, sherbet, popsicles, orange juice, orange Kool-Aid. Anything orange is extremely bitter to me because the sucker that she gave me was laced. I am. I'm actually in school for criminal justice. I remember being kept in a cage. How I was transported and everything. I remember a lot more than they think. Thank you. You might as well say hi, they're watching. Yes, I have the Illuminati and that watching me. But I like to do scare tactics and that type of thing too, but that never works with me. That shit don't work with me. They have done everything to try and silence me and make me look crazy. Grace, you know me. Am I crazy? I called you Grace. I go by Grace. Gray. Shit. Gray, you know me. Am I crazy? Have you ever known me to be crazy or a beggar or a scammer or a hardcore rug user or anything like that? Because that's what they claim I am. Ladies and gentlemen, Gray knows me. We used to work together. She still thinks I'm the best, okay? You know. And ironically, for anyone wondering if she's trustworthy or not, your father is a pastor or a preacher. Which one? Not all pastors or preachers are bad. Not all we know there's corruption, clearly, but not all of them are bad. Everything they've said about me has been a lie. Yeah. And I took her banana bread. I made her and, what's her name? Leslie. I would make her and Leslie banana bread and goodies and stuff, and I would always come visit Gray while she was working alone and hang out with her. And even volunteer when it would be busy. I'm in Staten Island, New York. They've doxed my address hundreds of times. They've called police, and police have shown up at my house to do wellness checks. You name it, they've done it. It's things that have been said about me and posted about me. Well, come visit then. What are you waiting on? I have a nice, good-sized one-bedroom apartment. It's the first floor of a house. I have some things I'm finding out about my health now. I bent down to tie my shoe one day. And I was wearing shapewear because on my main account, I'm a TikTok shop affiliate. And so I was wearing the shapewear because I always give my honest opinion. I bent down, tied my right shoe, no problem. Bent down to tie my left shoe, heard a pop, felt something move. 3 days later, I go to the ER because the pain is so bad I couldn't handle it. After, he examined me, did the x-ray. After the x-ray came back, he came and examined me another 5 times and continuously asked me, are you safe at home? Are you sure you're safe at home? Are you sure you're safe at home? Because the x-rays are so bad that I ended up with rib fractures and rib contusions. And I have a lot of old injuries that never healed right. And they said they could be from childhood. Yeah. I have osteoporosis and arthritis throughout my body. And I'm at high risk of breaking a hip in the next 10 years. And I may have children that I did not know existed. And you might say, how would you not know you're pregnant? Let me explain. After my youngest daughter was born, I don't know if it was months later or a year and a half later. I don't remember what year it was. Clearly, because it was surgery. I didn't know I was pregnant. I started lactating and I had my month late for 3 months at least straight, and went to the doctor. They said I wasn't pregnant. They did an ultrasound, or not an ultrasound, but they did a pregnancy test. They said I wasn't pregnant. That I needed to have surgery to see what was going on. I've had laparoscopies before. I went in for surgery that morning, and then I woke up about 5 p.m. in excruciating pain. They told me that when they did the surgery, they put a camera inside in one side of my uterus and it went out the other. And that was the cause of the pain. They released me. My ex-husband thought it was a great idea to take me for Mexican food after that. I took one bite of the food, ran to the bathroom, and then he ended up taking me to the hospital in another town, the town we lived in Greeley, where they were giving me shots of Dilaudid every 15 minutes, and I was admitted to the hospital for 3 days for pain, and I was on one of those, where you push the button? Yeah. One of those machines. And the lactating stopped after that surgery. Come to find out, if I was pregnant, most likely, clearly, because why would I be lactating if I wasn't and I didn't breastfeed my youngest, the baby or babies could have survived. With proper care, they could have very well survived. I keep saying they. I've always felt like I always had this feeling that I had been pregnant. And it would have been a forced labor and delivery. So I may very well have children. I keep saying children. That I don't know how old they are. I don't know if they're boys, girls. I don't know anything. So I had my my innocence stolen from me, my life stolen from me, thrown into another life. Everything I went through. And survived. There's one other thing. Because I'm not crazy. That's why I haven't said it yet. They tried to sacrifice me and it failed. Hi, I'm the sacrifice that failed. And they're terrified of me. And I want to show you something else. Because evil exists, right? Something told me to take pictures of this stuff before I left that house. Eastern Star. To all free and accepted Masons on the face of this earth. That's Alta Aryan, aka Graham and Mother Hayden. This was written by Reverend Kenneth Hayden. October 14th, 1957. Joan, Jack, and Carol. Alta, Graham, Mother Hayden. Alta and Howard. And then that's Joan and Jack. They're evil. All of them. Well, not me, but you know. Now, I often found it odd. I couldn't figure out why. My daughter, anytime Jack held her, she would scream her head off, basically. I'm trying to find the damn picture where it shows her screaming. Now I'm wondering what was in what they gave her to calm her down. Because before these were taken, she was screaming. And I know I have the picture here too. Somewhere. It is somewhere here. She was crying there. She was crying when she was on his lap. That's Brian, by the way. Fucking nasty motherfucker he is. I could not find this goddamn picture. Okay. Let me flip this. Until I find it. So there. I lose my head if I want to fucking attached, I'll tell you what. I solved my own kidnapping, basically. Yes. They're the lapdogs. Police, law enforcement, all that shit, FBI, they're the lapdogs. You didn't know that? You didn't know that? Let me read you this part of this little letter here. Let me get my glasses on first. Knowing your background and assuming some things about you and Jack, I feel quite sure that you would agree with Graham and myself and others in our family that we would take the liberal view towards matters such as these. In other words, we would want to be inclusive rather than exclusive. A good place to find out such information is to get a hold of the yearbook from our international convention. If the church is listed in there and if they also contribute to our program, they are a cooperative church. The 1956 yearbook, which I have, shows this about Long Beach churches. Contributing cooperative, Bixby Knolls, East Side, North Palo Verde. Non-contributing, probably independent, Dominguez First, Lakewood Church of Christ, Brookside Church of Christ, Westside Church of Christ. Notice that all the cooperative churches are known. Let me back up. Notice that all the cooperative group are known by Christian Church, but that 2 of the non-cooperating churches are also known by Christian Church. Talks like this letter is very cryptic. But there are international conventions that take place every year, take place on August 16th or August 17th every year. I want you all to hear something, because I'm going to play a recording that I took when I talked to the people at the Missing and Exploited Children's place. And you're about to see just how corrupt they actually are. Was it before or after I got back? Before? I don't think that's it. I think it might have been after I got back from Wigs and Wishes. Might have been after Wigs and Wishes. Had to be after Wigs and Wishes.
Thank you for calling PayPal support. How can I help you?
Wrong one.
Yeah, I got a question.
Like, I have to record fucking motherfuckers like that, too. Is this it?
Center for Missing and Exploited Children Hotline, where you may report information about child sexual exploitation or a missing child. This line is being recorded. By continuing your call, you acknowledge and consent to the recording. If you do not wish to be recorded, please
and you'll
hang
find
up
out
now.
why in a minute.
Para
The trigger
español,
warning,
oprima
big
5.
time.
If you are calling to report your child missing or the sighting of a missing child, press 1 now. If you are calling to report the sexual exploitation of a child, press 2 now. If you are calling to request publications, press 3 now. If you are calling for any other reason, press 4
Yeah,
now.
you know, when you send when they see the pictures, that's when it all changed.
Hi, people, how can I help you?
Yeah, I need to speak to a supervisor.
Wait, that's not the first one. Hold on. This is the first one.
So
I started recording because of how she was acting.
sheriff for
Trigger warning.
Texas, they all said I'm not Tanya. It's not a match. Okay, great. So they will not send me the results. Is that normal?
Yes, absolutely.
So I've called them and I've said, look, this is another case. And they tell me I have to go through FBI. FBI tells me I have to go through police. Police tell me I have to go through FBI. I'm getting roadblocks at every turn, and I'm not sure why.
Yeah. Well, I believe if you're not a match to one missing child, and then this child is in Germany.
She was taken from Germany. I know the car.
It would be whoever is investigating that case in Germany.
They've told me because the ones investigating are the military police in the UK.
Mm-hmm. Why in the UK, do you know? Because
her family was stationed in West Germany. Her father was a sergeant major in the British Army.
It would be up to them to
remember I said trigger warning
investigate and take your name, but that's what I'm saying.
And they've told me that I need the law enforcement in the U.S. to connect and everything else, and I'm getting roadblocks at every turn. I get roadblocks from the FBI, police, and now it seems every agency in the United States, and I'm wondering why. I can imagine why. I know. I can only imagine. So now I'm going to have to go over to the UK to do this. To prove who I am. Because I already know.
And they're stupid.
I remember. The car that she took me in, I remember it being in the people that I believed were my great-grandparents. It was in their garage. They had painted it was green, they painted it tan. They transported me in the trunk of the car when they transported the car back here from that country.
It was the back seat. I
was transported in the back of a car. In the trunk.
At times.
And being drugged the whole time. I can't get help from people that are supposed to help victims and survivors, no matter how old they are.
No, I definitely understand your frustration.
Then why is it nobody wants... I've called the FBI multiple times. I've gotten laughed at. I've gotten... this is crazy. It should not be this difficult to prove who I am. But I can imagine why, because I know I know what those people are into. I took pictures of documents. And pictures of pictures. Can you imagine seeing a picture of the woman you think is your great-grandma standing with 3 other women and a man in front of a black wall with an upside-down pentagram behind him? Can you imagine sitting in your car, getting ready to make a video or a phone call, and you have this horrific memory of horrific things being done to children, including being eaten while they were alive. Imagine that. Because I did.
Yeah, that sounds like very traumatic. Do you have, in all this trauma that you're talking about, that is very...
that's her response to what I just told her.
To have in your mind and to remember. Do you have anybody that you talk to on a regular basis, like a counselor?
Yeah, because that's a normal response to hearing something
counselors and therapists when they were able to get me over medicated, taking 100 pills a day on medications I did not need, where I was sleeping 23 out of 24 hours a day. Let me talk to doctors when these people have gotten them to inject things at the base of my skull to make it appear that I was having a
talk about a counselor.
stroke.
I'm not talking about someone that gives you medication. I'm just talking about like a therapist or a counselor to be able to talk about all these memories and things that you have.
I mean, these people are part of, Masons, Eastern Star, Knights of the Templar, Scottish Rites, that kind of thing. I already know what they're about. I know why they're. I already know.
I have evidence.
I know why I can't get help from anybody here.
Okay, so I'm trying to. I can't. Me as a nonprofit, working at a nonprofit, we are not law enforcement. We do not investigate these cases. We assist law enforcement with resources, and we assist families with resources, but we don't investigate these cases. So I'm trying to give you the information that I know that would help you have law enforcement listen to you.
Do you fucking
they already know who. Here's the thing: they were more than happy to help me about Tanya Michelle Williams, but then when it comes to Catrice Lee, I keep getting roadblock after roadblock after roadblock from FBI and police.
A lot of the times, we're very, we're very protective of these families, and we want to make sure that
full of shit she is right now.
Done for the families, because they have been on emotional roller coasters.
And I understand that. I'm just trying to get my DNA tested, but nobody wants to help me here. So I got to go over to the UK because that's the only way I'm going to get help. Right? Because I've contacted the police over there. I've contacted the slavery and exploited.
It's funny they want to help me over there, but they can't
unit over there. I've contacted every agency over there. They have cases open. They all know about me. And what's going to happen when I go over? What do you think is going to happen when I go over there? And if it proves that I am Catrice Lee, what do you think is going to happen to the United States?
I made the phone call.
The FBI, and when I have evidence, physical evidence, that nobody did their job and gave me roadblocks at every turn instead of doing their job. And when it's proven that they're protecting the monsters, what do you think is going to happen? See, the difference between me and the rest of the children that are taken, I was never supposed to be taken, because the children that they take every year that there's no trace of are sold by their families to them. Or part of the families.
And I hope that you...
I am so glad that I've recorded this entire conversation. Because when I get over there, and I'm going to get over there, when I talk to the BBC News and all that, and prove and show all the evidence I have, because I've collected it over this whole entire time, there's going to be a lot of questions and investigations. I can guarantee that, especially if I am Catrice Lee, the daughter of someone that was in the Royal British Army as a sergeant major, who wants his daughter back and is not going to stop until he gets to the truth. Neither is the rest of her family. But you guys, every agency here, it's so funny to me.
I figured
not
it out.
Funny, haha, but funny, ironic, that if I was anybody else, I would get help. But you guys protect the monsters. The ones that you are supposed to help is the children and the victims. But every agency here in the United States protects the monsters. And come to find out, just the other day I saw a video of someone who confessed that he is being paid by the CIA to stalk people. And has evidence of it. Being paid $10,000 to do it. I cannot wait, because this is going to be international news when it all comes out. You guys are going to be... I cannot wait. The corruption, it's going to end. You guys don't do your jobs. Nobody wants to help me because of who I grew up with. That's cool. I grew up with the leader's family. I know. I took pictures of everything, of documents before I left.
Heather, I'm gonna.
Bless your heart for thinking you're gonna get away with this. Bless y'all's heart for thinking y'all are going to get away with this. I seem to know more about the law than y'all do since I study it and have for a very long time for fun.
All right. Heather, I'm going to end this conversation.
Cool.
Goodbye.
Just wait till the lawsuit happens. Yeah.
See, I think I figured out why they think they're going to get away with this shit. They think they're going to get away with it because I'm here and it happened over there or whatever, right? That I'm never going to get over there ever. Or the corruption, because the corruption also is so bad that, you know. But then, this is the second time
where you may report information about child sexual exploitation or a missing child. This line is being recorded. By continuing your call, you acknowledge and consent to the recording. If you do not wish to be recorded, please hang up now. Para español, oprima cinco. If you are calling to report your child missing or the sighting of a missing child,
that woman I was on the phone with,
if you are calling to report the sexual exploitation of a child, press 2 now. If you're calling to request publications, press 3 now.
I'm going over there at some point.
For any other reason, press 4 now.
I'm going over there at some point. I'm not saying when, because I'm not sure even when yet.
A supervisor.
Okay, what is it regarding, so I can get a supervisor for you?
Well, the person in charge of my case, because I called and reported what I know and everything, well, they didn't, it didn't go too well, and so I need to speak to a supervisor. I have questions.
Okay, they're all on a call. Did you have a missing child, or?
Well, not exactly. I'm the one that's missing. I was abducted and trafficked as a child, and it's already been confirmed. I've already done one DNA test to find out if I was this child, Tanisha Williams. I'm not her. I believe I very well might be a child that went missing on November 28, 1981 from West Germany. I remember the day I was taken. I know who took me. And the case is, who's in charge of it is Operation Butte, who is through the military police in the UK. I contacted the UK about all of this. They know about me. They need me to get a hold of somebody that will help me get connected with them. They would love to help me, but because I'm in the United States, there's that. Now, my question is,
do you think it would be so hard for someone to get help proving who they are?
I've called
to get help
police, you guys, I've called every
get justice for themselves?
And I'm trying to find out why I can't get help. Why it seems that everyone here, every agency here wants to give me roadblocks at every turn.
So who were you transferred to when you first called?
Her name's Brenda. The case number is 206-5803.
Okay, let me check that out. Yeah.
I remember, and the woman that took me, I grew up calling her aunt, and she looks exactly like the sketch of the suspect that was done a year after the disappearance. I have the same exact birthmark in the same exact spot as this missing child, and I know for a fact I was abducted. I know what my memories tell me, and I've had them confirm that my memories are right. Not to mention I've taken evidence physical evidence
been
of
involved
what
with
these
the
people
whole
are
thing.
actually
Yeah,
into
they know.
and what they
I gotta
are
go
all
over
about.
there.
Pictures of documents and pictures of, well, them.
Trust to believe. I told you one way or the other. I said from the jump
I want to know why.
watch me be the one who saw my own
kidnapping. At every turn.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna prove who I am.
Isn't it like the FBI and that's strange to me that nobody wants to help someone who was a victim, who is a survivor of the horrific things that I saw and had happened to me. But nobody wants to help me, and I'm not quite sure why. When it's your guys, when it's your
are roaming the streets.
FBI and law enforcement, they take an oath to uphold the law and help the victims and that, but yet in my case they're doing the complete opposite. They had no problem helping me when it came to finding out if I was Tanya Michelle Williams or not, but now all of a sudden, because I find this missing girl, this child that went missing on her second birthday, that I resemble, that my children resemble her and her sister around the same age.
No, that's not what I meant to do.
That I have the same birthmark in the same spot, that I have the same mole. If you zoom in on Catrice Lee's face on her picture, she has a mole on her left cheek like I do in the same exact spot. I'm trying to find out why I can't get help from any agency and I can't get anybody to do their job.
Once I'm over there, those agencies that are in contact will help me.
What you were told by Brenda.
Did you take a DNA test with Ancestry? Yeah. Turns out the guy who is in charge of all the Ancestry DNA testing is actually related to my abductor's family. To the family I was raised in. The real Heather is in Phoenix, Arizona. Alive and well. Well, not mentally well, but well. I remember the day I was taken. I remember a lot of things.
Well, the only thing I can do is transfer you back to Brenda and...
Oh, no, I need the supervisor.
Which the supervisor was a POS, too.
Because nobody seems to want to do their job. Recorded. So here's where I'm at with it. Because if I have to swim across the ocean to prove who I really am, and when it is proven, yeah, it's going to be bad for everyone.
They have no idea.
Especially since I have physical evidence of no agency wanting to do their job and giving me the runaround of BS excuses, including FBI when I call at times to try and get them to help either laugh at me and that kind of thing and hang up on me, or telling me that I need to call law enforcement because they don't deal with Interpol. And then law enforcement tells me I gotta call and deal with FBI because that's who deals with it. This is crazy to me. That nobody wants to do their job. Isn't that strange?
Trigger warning coming up.
Can you give us a minute? Can you hold on and let me check something, okay?
Yeah.
Let me check something.
Okay, so,
I put it on pause.
Brenda, provided with the resources, and she said you need to speak to law enforcement in the UK or Germany.
What resources did she provide me with?
I've been told I need help from the US first.
She didn't.
To get in contact with them. Since nobody wants to do their job, my next call will be the Department of Justice.
Okay, but because you went...
I need to speak to your supervisor because I am filing a complaint. That's the least of your worries right now. I'm filing the complaint I'm filing is the least of your guys' worries at this point. See, Catrice Lee's father had a meeting with the Prime Minister this year to get a minister on his daughter's case. You know what he said about his daughter that he's trying to find so desperately? Catrice was a gift, and he wants his gift back, and he's not giving up. Now imagine if I turn out to be Catrice Lee and nobody did their job, and I end up finding out by going over there, and with the evidence I have against each and every agency. Because I do. I recorded every phone call. I also have pictures that I've taken of documents before I ever escaped that house. And the memories I have.
Trigger warning, trigger warning,
But nobody wants to do their jobs, right? When it comes to me for some reason. I wonder why. No problem helping me when it came to finding out whether or not I was changing Michelle Williams, but when it comes to Catrice Lee, I get roadblocks at every turn, and I wonder why. I know a lot more than y'all think I do. And I know that you guys know who I am. Who I really am. And that's why I'm getting roadblocks and everything else. Because I know and you know what's going to happen when everything comes out if I do prove who I am. Right? Because I remember the day I was taken. I know who took me. And I remember a lot of other things. Like children being eaten while they were still alive. Do you know what it's like to hear the screams of children and see it every time you close your eyes? Horrific things. Worse than nightmares and horror movies combined. And I can't get help because you and y'all protect the monsters. I'm not the only survivor that's been speaking out. Guaranteed. And the scare tactics that y'all do, that the government does to us, the stalking and that doesn't work with me. Neither does anything else. And I've proven that. And I'm going to make sure every survivor knows they have nothing to be worried about either. Because if we could have been taken out, we wouldn't be here still. I know Carol Myers took me. On November 28th, 1981, from the NAFI, I remember. I know I was drugged, and I know the car that she took me in was painted from green to tan. And then I was transported in the trunk of that damn car over here to the United States, where it then sat in the garage of Alta and Howard Arian's home. But y'all playing games and think you're going to get away with this just because you're the lapdogs, right? People will do anything for money, clearly, including protect monsters. I took pictures of documents. Masons, Eastern Star. I took pictures of pictures. And I actually took the letter from that house. They called Alta, Graham, and Mother Hayden. Don't think I don't know. I also know that they have their little meetings like August 16th or 17th of every year. And in 1984, it happened in Texas. And I know the reason Tanya's name felt so familiar was because we were together at some point, and I know that they knew her name because her grandmother sold her. remember more than you could ever imagine. But yet, y'all protect the monsters. And when it all comes out, because come hell or high water, I am going to prove who I am. Who I really am. Every agency that has been protecting those monsters are going to be thoroughly investigated. And whoever knew about it and didn't do their job to help me, well, you might end up in... don't be surprised if you end up in a cell. I've studied criminal justice, criminals, law enforcement, all that kind of thing before I was ever a teenager. For fun. I know Carol Myers was wearing her husband's clothing that day. A gray suit with a gray hat that dipped in the center of it, with a feather on the right side. Had a gray coat on. She gave me an orange safety sucker that was laced with whatever. The white naffy, the building that I was taken from, was on the left side of me when I ran up to her. I remember. The back seat of the damn car was tan. They were bucket seats. It was a 1981 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme.
One bucket seats was, what do you call it? Bench seats.
Okay, I'm going to transfer you to the supervisor, okay?
That's what I thought.
Hold on.
I had to leave a message. Oh, excuse me. I had to leave a message. He called me back. I didn't have a chance to record it. But same shit that I had to deal with that Brenda person and the FBI. I did the same fucking way. Now,
I'm guilty as hell. And I'm putting my life in danger by doing it. I don't feel good about this. I feel guilty as hell. This is why I'm sharing it. But there's a 3-letter agency. The letters are I, A, and C. I'm sure you can do the math on that. And I'm sure you've heard the term G-stalked or getting followed. I get paid $10,000 a month by that organization to follow people. All I have to do is follow one person a day, make sure they see me, take a video, send it in. I have a tracking app on my phone. I can see at least 100 people a day, and I get to pick who I follow. All I have to do is make sure they see me and send in the video. That's it. Just doing some creepy shit. Share this, like this, send it to your homies. If you called someone crazy for getting G-stalked, sorry, dude. It's real.
they stalk the survivors. Scare tactics. What does his name be? The one. Someone I call Purple Plankton, who claims he's an actor, who lies constantly and steals the stories that people tell about themselves and what they went through. That one? Who then turns around and harasses and torments and bullies women. That one? You talking about Dalton, right? Tom Levi? That one? Yeah, it's because you heard everything that you heard from him, he heard from me. Yeah. Dalton Levi is a con artist. He's not an actor. He's a wannabe. All he is a fucking bully. More of a cult leader than anything. At least a wannabe. The shit he did to me and others. He's a POS. I mean, you should go look up his record. Look up the account TPD and watch their videos. Now, I can imagine he has something to do with all of this as well that's been going on in here. I'm not stupid. Yeah, we'll talk soon, hon. You know, we're mutuals on the book of the face. You know. Oh, yeah. Night, hon. The people will do anything for money. And Mr. Purple Plankton had been paid, along with many others, to do what they did to me. What he doesn't seem to comprehend is he must really like prison. Because if he is doing what I think he's doing, once it all is proven that I really am Catrice, or whoever, it wouldn't matter who I am, because at this point we know I was abducted and trafficked and all that. So regardless of who I would end up being, he would be facing criminal charges and major lawsuit as it is by the time of everything said and done. You know, like defamation of character. Pretty sure I still have screen recordings that were sent to me too. See, he wants to be TikTok famous so bad because he thinks it'll get him into the industry, right? No chance. That's what he's got. He will never be in the entertainment industry. A few different reasons. The way he acts. Striving to be TikTok famous. They take that as a joke. You will never be in the industry if you're... No. Also, the way he acts, like I said, and the deep mental illness that he seems to have. All of that combined will never be in the industry. No. When I did the ancestry test, that the head guy, he said that his daughter was a match to me. Okay, no, it's not. Because if that was the case, the test would have gone to Ireland, not here in the United States. No. The guy is in fact related to that family, the abductors. The test went to the United States, not to Ireland. I'll show you. Yeah, no. Here it goes here. Which would explain a lot. Who is in charge of the DNA testing for Ancestry DNA? Oh, excuse me. The actual genetic processing for Ancestry DNA test is handled by Quest Diagnostics, a large diagnostic company. They're using their lab in Marlborough, Massachusetts. While Ancestry DNA, a privately owned company, manages the customer relationship database and interpretation of the results. So Quest Diagnostics performs the lab work, but Ancestry manages the service and data. So the guy who's in charge of entering the information is related to that family. Who with Ancestry DNA would be the one to enter all the information about your DNA into the system? This is weird. Hold on. Also, someone had got me the test and had it sent to me, and when I clicked on the thing to enter the information, it went directly to one of my emails that I didn't give them. Okay, so there's multiple people, right? Okay, well, you tell me why the person that had control of my DNA sample, right? How is it that that person that somehow got control of my DNA sample just happens to be related to the kidnappers? Please enlighten me on how that happened. How did my DNA that was sent off end up being in control, or whoever, the one in charge that oversaw my DNA? How is it that the person that just happened to end up with it also is related to the abductors? I'm waiting for an answer. Yeah, 12 days before the estimated date, they put me in as with that family. After it had already been confirmed to me by law enforcement, 2 different law enforcement aid officers, that I'm not Heather. Someone entwined with that cult because he was a victim because of his mom, that I'm not Heather. And then someone that I've known for 20 years that is part of that cult, that I did not know was part of that cult, that I am not Heather, that I was abducted and trafficked. So you want to give me that BS excuse again? He said his daughter. Because I don't believe in coincidences, number one. No, it's not you that I'm, yeah. So, C.Y. Atkins won. Thank you for testing. For best results, you can link your DNA to you in a tree. The Ancestry True Lines feature will then start working for you. That's what it says. And then I said I know my DNA was never tested. It says showing up as a match with my daughter EB. You and EB. EB's test is managed by C.Y. Atkins 1. Fourth cousin or half third cousin once removed. Parent number 2's side. Parent number 2 would be the mother's side in this case. Which means, that's the thing. See, these are direct descendants from John and Priscilla Alden. Okay? It said 10% on the mother's side is from England. But see, here's the thing. After I saw that, I said, now I know why my DNA was never tested. You're related to my kidnappers. It's already been confirmed by 4 different people that I was abducted and trafficked, and will, however, find out who I really am. He read it and never responded. Now, come hell or high water, I'm going to prove who I am. I know who I am. They did not test my DNA. And let's go into the fact that my youngest daughter's name was on there. They connected my youngest daughter's name to me, but the problem was her DNA results. I looked at her results for her father's side. It says Southern American and Indigenous. And Iceland or something like that. And a couple other things. Didn't make any sense. Her father my ex-husband, was Italian. But she isn't? You're telling me my youngest daughter, whose father was Italian, has no Italian in her DNA? Right? But has South American indigenous, which my ex-husband... No, it's not. Donna Moore, I'm not sure who sent you in here, sweetheart. But this BS that you're trying to spew here ain't working. You might want to go back to the drawing board. And my ex-husband is Italian. If your daughter doesn't have Indian in her, indigenous in her, but your husband is not her father, sugar tits. That's how DNA works. If your ex-husband is indigenous, your daughter would have indigenous in her DNA as well. Did you not think about that before you decided to comment that? See, the great thing about which you clearly have been sent in here, my IQ is 149. My best subjects in school, my favorite subjects in school was social studies and science. Okay? I know how science works, and I know how DNA works. And if you claim your husband is indigenous, your daughter would show up in her DNA as indigenous as well. So, okay. Either you're lying or you cheated on your husband and your husband is not your daughter's father. Which is it? Which is it? Did you cheat on your husband and your husband is not the biological father of your daughter? Or were you sent in here because you're being paid to, because there's a bounty on my head, to discredit me? Well, then that leaves, that would mean you know about the bounty on my head, right? Right? You might want to go back to the drawing board, sugar tits. The whole thing that you're doing, and for you to say you have the education in that, but you really can't, Lord have mercy, go back to the drawing board. Tell whoever sent you in, it ain't working, sugar tits. You're doing a rerun. That's what you're doing. Try again. She claimed she was educated, right? But then spelled no wrong. Okay. See, this is what they do. I know. I know that, you know that. But clearly, when people are sent in to try and discredit me and things like that, they try to sound smart and intelligent, but then get tripped up and then don't know how to spell. You know. Like, I haven't been dealing with that kind of shit for how long now? Right? Also, if her husband was indigenous, she wouldn't have said Indian, she would have said indigenous. What she said, that's racist white shit. God, people are so stupid. Go back to the motherfucking drawing board. Shit ain't working. This is not like sands through the hourglass, sort of the days of our lives, so let's repeat our bullshit things that we did before. Like they're gonna work, like, even though they didn't work the first time. Exactly. Either way, it would show up in her daughter's DNA. Oh, and you know how she said she got the results back right away, right? That's not how the fuck that works. A simple Google search could have saved her some time with that one. And I can guarantee you, if her daughter's DNA, if her husband was from India or even indigenous, whatnot, and her daughter didn't come up with some that on her daughter's father's side, there would be a lot of questions from the father, don't you think? Like, why does her DNA not match mine? You know. That's some racist white shit that she said. Cause, yeah, no. That'd be like saying, if my oldest daughter did an ancestry test, right? Her father's from Mexico City. That'd be like saying her father's Hispanic, but it didn't show up in her DNA. Her father's from Mexico City, but it didn't show up at all in her DNA. See how stupid that sounds? Of course she did. Shit. How, like, to try and, for anyone to try and argue with me when it comes to anything like science, DNA, anything, period. That's the dumbest thing you could do, but you don't do your research before you do this shit. But I will see what I do is I like to, like I did with her, make her out herself. Because when you're saying you're educated and that you can't spell no the proper way, the way you have it, the way it's supposed to, in that context, you're not any type of intelligent. You're not any type of educated like that. It's common fucking sense. That's how I knew that my DNA was never ever tested. Because they're direct descendants of John and Priscilla Alden, the most famous couple from the Mayflower. Nobody ever questioned that. I've wondered, Why are they the most famous? And the answer is simple. They were actually the lead. One of them was the leader back then, and most likely it was Priscilla Alden. Because the leader, contrary to what everybody thinks, is in fact a woman. And it's always in that bloodline. And it would be the most sadistic woman in the family. So, for them to be direct descendants, right? How would parent number 2, aka the mother's side, only be 10% from England in her DNA? When it shows her cousins, like, which are descendants too, they would be like 40-50% from England. But she wasn't? But you're telling me Sue wasn't? Okay. Also, it said the mother's side would be athletic, and Sue was nowhere near athletic. She was 419 pounds when she faked her death. I think the funniest thing I heard all night, though, was... there was a lot. The lack of common sense. Just fuck. When you want to try and convince me that they took her when she had MRSA, when she was in ICU, took her out of ICU for hospice, took her to a whole nother floor and a regular room when she had MRSA. Then try and convince me that after she passed away, they would take her to the funeral home and then transport her to a whole different fucking city to be cremated and then transported all the way back to that city. Because, yeah, there's no crematories in Greeley. Right? Funny. Oh, when I was playing... that was Sue's husband. That was Sue's husband. And you heard how he tried to fuck with my memory, right? Don't you remember? Don't you remember? And then stuttering over himself. Yeah. Surefire sign of her death was faked. Something the doctors told us. They tried giving her two different feeding tubes. None of them would take. So if they had to do another one, it would go in her groin. Why would a feeding tube go through the groin? Like, I understand they most likely hired actors to do that shit to convince me. But would they hire Joy from Friends? That's something Dr. the one he played would have said. You know? Because feeding tubes go through the stomach, not the groin. I know what happened. Because I was there. I've said multiple different times, many different throughout the years what happened. And I mean, to say that the reason he would say I unalived her was because every time I would leave, she would start smoking. So I unalived her. It's my fault, right? Like sense to the hourglass. But no, they don't put feeding tubes in the groin. Evidently, they had to come up with something, not thinking that I would realize anything because I was so distraught, thinking my bio mom was passing away. I had no fucking idea. No, she supposedly had MRSA. But the reason he would say anytime he would accuse me of unaliving her, is because every time I would leave, she would start smoking. And she had no business smoking. Motherfucker, you're the one that bought them for her, so how would it be Like I said, something Joey Tribbiani would say. Right? What the fuck? Yeah. And be connected to oxygen. And then be connected to oxygen and still have an IV 4 hours after her passing. Still normal color, normal body temperature, still like she was sleeping. Because she was. She wasn't dead. You know something? I've noticed something interesting tonight. I've been looking at the names of people joining on fake accounts. There's some names that I recognize. But the thing is, the names of those people that I recognize, those people passed away quite some time ago. When I say quite some time ago, I'm talking about 1950s, 1960s. Yeah, they don't fake their deaths and they don't live forever, do they? They're not fucking human. Think about this. We all heard about Illuminati being reptiles, right? Dressed as humans. Right? How long do reptiles live for? How long do lizards live for? Maybe we should look that up. Because the names on fake accounts that are coming in, I recognize the names. A lot of them. Some of the names of the people that those people passed away supposedly in like the 50s and 60s and even before that. That's what's very interesting, isn't it? Well, that's the problem I'm having because it only shows me 32 people. It's not showing me all of them. 32 out of 47 is all it shows me. Now we have a Pearl. Jesus Christ. Like, these are old names that are popping up. What is the longest that a lizard could live for? That was a tongue twister. What is the oldest living reptile? So, Jonathan the something giant tortoise is 192 years old. That I think that might explain faking does how, I mean, we've all seen the old pictures of like back in the 1600s or whatever, like Civil War, right? Of people from back then who just happened to look remarkably exactly like some of the celebrities that are alive now, don't they? Like, was it Justin Timberlake, John Travolta, Nicolas Cage? The list goes on. But isn't it kind of strange? Yeah, I'm about to go about to end this too because I need to get some sleep. I need to get some rest. So, but isn't it kind of strange? Yeah, I am going to go to bed. And at some point I'll be live tomorrow. So, maybe on my main account. No. Anyways, I hope you all have a wonderful evening. And to those of you who think you're going to continue to, that something is going to work to get me to shut up, you might want to go back to the drawing board because nothing is going to make me shut up or keep me quiet. Nothing. Anyways, hope you all have a great night. Until next time, I'll see y'all later. Good night, guys.